Hello, my name is Pat Laverty. Appearing on CNN Money on 6 June 2012, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, retired Admiral Mike Mullen, was asked what the greatest threat facing America was, and he responded, "The one that has emerged for us, and fairly rapidly in recent years, has been the whole world of cyber. I think it is an area that many of us don't understand, and we are vulnerable in the military, in our government, but I think most vulnerable commercially to cyber attacks." According to a study by Javelin Strategy and Research in 2011, 1.4 million more adults were identity fraud victims in the previous year, and data breaches increased 67% from 2010 to 2011. These numbers, as well as the concern from Admiral Mullen, clearly indicate that cyber has surpassed other forms of threats for not only the United States, but also international countries. Today, the Aristodemus Consulting Group will discuss with you the future of cybersecurity as we face mounting challenges through the year 2025. Our consultants are highly educated, knowledgeable, and will provide extensive research in the following areas. Mr. Mike Boyd will speak to the socio-cultural changes impacting the future of cybersecurity. He will be followed by Mr. Bob Kaiser, who will speak on economic and education challenges and requirements if we are to successfully combat the growing cybersecurity threat. Lastly, Mr. Jaime Sampaio, our resident legal advisor, will speak to national and international political and legal issues before providing a forecast based on our research for cybersecurity in the year 2025. When discussing cybersecurity from now until 2025, one must consider the technological advances and how they may overwhelm the cybersecurity industry. In June 2012, Dr. Herbert Lin, who is the chief scientist at the Computer Science and Telecommunications Board of the National Academies, wrote that given the increasing dependence of much of an advanced nation's critical infrastructure on computers for safe and efficient operation, the possibility of a catastrophic cyber attack on an advanced nation cannot be ruled out. Widespread power outages affecting hundreds of millions of people, a hacked air traffic control system causing airplanes to crash, military forces unable to deploy, and so on. With this level of dependence on technology where people stay connected using many different types of devices, to include an increased dependence on difficult-to-secure mobile devices, there is now an understanding by many that security must be built into technology, as we can no longer rely on adding security features at a later time. When technology is delivered or comes out of the box, it must be secure and ready to operate, and security updates must be automatic. You cannot rely on the typical computer user to keep their computing device secure. This will challenge cybersecurity engineers to be forward thinkers and develop solutions that provide automatic updates to include patches that correct security deficiencies without user prompt, that do not interfere with the usage of the computer device. This will add costs that will be passed on to the consumers. And while this is not the popular choice, it is necessary if we are properly going to protect our systems. The European Internet Foundation published an article in 2009 titled "The Digital World in 2025. They visualize a world of 10-year-olds growing up in a world with ever more powerful digital tools. The central paradigm they propose is that of a world driven by mass collaboration, enabled by the ubiquitous availability of high-speed, high-capacity digital communication networks, systems, tools, and services connected by the Internet. Mass collaboration has great potential, and if used correctly, could be great for economic and social goods. But this sharing of information and cloud computing with potentially millions of unknown computers and users creates special challenges for cybersecurity engineers. Professor Ravi Sandhu, the Executive Director and Chief Scientist at the Institute for Cybersecurity at the University of Texas at San Antonio, believes that security can never hold back technology. He says that currently hackers are more innovative than their defenders because defenders are mired in fear, uncertainty, and doubt. To combat future challenges, which will be made more difficult by advanced technology, Professor Sandhu believes that cybersecurity will need to become a scientific discipline. In addition, He believes that cybersecurity will never be solved, but must be managed, and that attacking back will be an integral part of cybersecurity. Now that I have shared with you the technological changes that will impact the future of the cybersecurity industry, I will turn you over to my colleague, Mr. Mike Boyd, who will speak on socio-cultural changes.
Thank you, Pat. The coming decade will bring with it a set of demographic shifts which will radically transform the globe and the people who live on it. A study by the American Institute of CPAs entitled The World in 2025 forecasted that developed economies will age while emerging economies will grow more youthful. Race and culture lines will blur, yet multicultural values and tastes will peak. The digital generation will turn 40, aging baby boomers will not retire, and a new generation, Generation Z, known as the mobile generation, will live online. According to a report released by the U.S. Department of Commerce, An Aging World in 2008, trends in birth, death, and migration are changing both absolute and relative size of populations. Those of the young and old, rural and urban, ethnic majorities and minorities in both emerging and in established countries. By 2025, the populations of more than 50 countries will increase by over a third, with some by more than two-thirds. World population is projected to grow by about 1.2 billion to reach 8 billion. This trend will move from west to east, with India and China leading the increase. The world's population is also aging at an unprecedented rate. The population aged 80 and over is projected to increase 233%, compared with 160% for the population over age 65 and 33% for the total population. According to an analysis by Booz & Company, 870 million women who have not previously participated in the economy will own their own business or be employed. Most of the women will come from non-industrialized countries and emerging economies, but roughly 42 million will come from North America, Western Europe, and Japan. The gender gap in earnings will then narrow to approach parity by 2020. These women will be able to overcome the traditional barriers by utilizing virtual, mobile, and internet technologies to run their businesses. It is clear that access to and utilization of cyber technology will facilitate great changes in the future. Up till now, the lack of access to cyber technology has been a severely limiting factor in the growth of emerging economies. A recent article in the Journal of Computer-Assisted Learning points out that there exists today a digital elite, those who have access to cyber technology. This is a type of digital apartheid that is unfortunately alive and well in developing economies, but which is rapidly being erased by new technologies and investments in infrastructure that will make technology more accessible in these economies. The access to web-based technologies will change the daily fabric of duties in the home, school, workplace, and government around the world. However, along with the increased global access to cyber technologies' benign and positive uses, comes a correspondingly increased risk for global attacks on privacy and infrastructure. My colleague, Mr. Bob Kaiser, will now provide an overview of the future world economy and the educational issues facing us in the next 10 years.
Thank you, Mike. There are not too many ways to entirely cripple a nation's economy in less time it takes to deliver a pizza to your door. An effective cyber attack is one. We must have a strong economy and educational system to ensure we are prepared for the cyber future. The future economic outlook favors both large and small countries focusing on cybersecurity measures to protect their current and evolving capabilities. According to the article, What Future for the World Economy by Lester Thurow, factors such as an expected decline in American manufacturing, soaring European unemployment, and Japanese trade surpluses produce a situation which their national economies can only cope with protectionist practices. Past integration of world economies through collaborative efforts have reached a turning point, and the next 10 years are likely to witness a lessening of economic integration. Why? The degree of integration required in the future will outrun the world's collective political will to manage it. Also, there will be many unsolved economic problems that each nation can only solve by isolationist tendencies. Countries negative towards isolationist attitudes will attempt to manipulate unwilling countries through cyber attack methods. According to the 2012 Global Economic Outlook, global growth is likely to slow to approximately 3% over the next decade. Any recovery of advanced economic societies will be offset by slower growth of emerging ones. As the chart shows, Asian and some European economies, even though in a state of decline, are predicted to have a 2 times larger growth in gross national product than the United States. Global growth this year is expected to grow at 3.5%, then slow to 2.7% from 2017 to 2025. At 3%, the growth still will be below past growth rates. By 2025, the United States will find itself as one of a number of important actors in a very possible multipolar economic world where at the same time advances by other nation and non-nation states in science and technology will continue. A continued weak economy and increased worldwide advances in science and technology will cause a growing use of cyber warfare attacks that will constrict the United States' economic and military freedom of action. To combat this growing threat, we must take a look at our education and make drastic and immediate changes. It is imperative that academic and research institutions collaborate now and in the future to develop solutions so we are jointly prepared for future cyber challenges. According to Chris Buzzelli, in his article, Next Generation Cyber Forensics, cyber technology is advancing at an uncontrollable rate and will continue to do so in the future. Addressing tomorrow's problem areas are extremely difficult, especially when we have current challenges we can't currently overcome. Cyber workers have technical educations, and improving our science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM education, is required to have the right number of employees for the future. According to the New York Times, the United States ranks 17th out of 34 wealthy countries in science and 25th out of 34 in math. In a recent survey, 1/3 of our country's manufacturing companies cannot field enough qualified cybersecurity employees. Currently, 30,000 experts are needed today, where only around 2,000 have the necessary skills. This issue has the attention of Congress, as Congressman Michael Honda introduced the STEM Education Innovation Act to place federal emphasis on improving our future education. In industry, the current rate of cyber-related professionals entering the workforce does not satisfy projected requirements. The issue also has presidential attention, and President Obama, in a State of the Union address, identified cybersecurity as a high national priority. The education of large numbers of cyber professionals must be a top goal. To ensure words turn into action, we see 4 areas for improvement: funding for cyber education, leveraging industry and educational cyber centers of excellence, promote cyber careers during high school where students are determining their career path, and have industry increase investment in employee education. As we discuss attacking and defending cyber systems, many future legal issues remain to be answered, and Mr. Jaime Sampaio will now discuss the future political, legal, and policy issues we'll face in the future.
Thank you, Bob. As part of your consulting team, I point to some basic realities from a political, legal, and policy change perspective, so you may better plan for the future in cybersecurity. First, as the world evolves toward a one-world government, the cybersecurity industry will be a pivotal player in world businesses and nation security. Political powers and businesses will use cybersecurity as a tool to keep or attain a competitive advantage. As nations lose their borders, this will necessitate universal cooperation and international treaties that result in a one-world governing system. The world's inevitable interconnectedness will affect business and social systems to include commerce and trade, the building of databases, and the ease of access and exchange of information. Dealing in commerce and trade involves knowing the political landscape, laws, and general policies that dictate how business transactions are to be conducted. As the world unites, the continued use of cyber technology to buy goods and services internationally will increase exponentially, and cyber issues will mirror those of international waters that are similar to the law of the sea, where there is no one country or government that has jurisdiction until a crime occurs. Thus, the need for cyber and international laws, as well as intellectual property laws and policies on privacy issues. When dealing with cyber issues and electronic files, there will likely also be the formation of databases containing personal information touching every aspect of one's life. Nations must implement cyber filters, walls, and protective measures to protect this information. These measures will likely include protecting the United States cyber infrastructure and preventing attacks on private companies and government entities. One of the world's cyber war experts, Eugene Kaspersky, a Russian computer expert and founder of Europe's largest antivirus company, claimed in May 2012 that cyber weapons will likely be used to disrupt power grids and financial systems or even wreak havoc with military defenses worldwide. He warns against cyber hackers who can bring down an entire system or nation due primarily to reliance on the internet and cyber technological advances. He also recommends a universal and/or international law to protect against such cyber violations. The rapid expansion of social networking and ease of access to such things as historical or current world events has proven to be a powerful force in the evolution of political power struggles. According to a 2008 National Intelligence Council report, it predicted a changed world of new networks forming among state and non-state actors to include super-empowered individuals and criminal networks, all requiring internet control and cyber oversight. Another threat is exposing a country's citizens to internet information that may challenge their version of history, political views, or laws. It is foreseeable that some countries will write laws prohibiting culturally sensitive matters, similar to how the United States prohibits child pornography and matters of national security on the internet. It is clear that the ease of access to information has opened the floodgates of change into societies worldwide. As a result of business, technological, and continued increase in cyber use, we will be more connected but will require oversight in business matters, political and legal policy, plus privacy issues worldwide. Given these realities, the Aristodemus Consulting Group makes the following recommendations. 1. Establish cultural training programs on world nations for employees at all levels by partnering with national and international companies by helping them develop cultural training programs for employees worldwide. 2. Ensure significant funding for cyber education for students in elementary, middle, and high schools, and also company employees. This would be done through working with national and international departments of education or through federal, state, and local governments. 3. As an industry, support cyber centers of excellence to promote continued emphasis on cyber defensive and offensive initiatives. Again, this would be accomplished through collaborative efforts with other nations' governmental agencies and militaries. 4. Establish and maintain a team of lawyer experts in cyber law and international law, intellectual property law, and privacy issues. This could be done through engaging local and national governments and national defense departments in addition to academic institutions, including law schools. 5. Collaborate with nations' business, military, and technological leaders to improve on cost-effective cyber defensive measures by investing in cyber research and development. This would include collaboration with nations worldwide, working in tandem to create cyber software and hardware to protect the interests of nations worldwide. I now turn it over to Mr. Mike Boyd, who will close our presentation.
Thank you, team. In summary, we have seen that the explosive growth of cyber technology, which includes the internet, wireless devices, and cell phones, is creating unprecedented connectivity and societal benefits throughout all aspects of the global community. With this new landscape, however, has come a raft of new vulnerabilities and threats to national security, our economic systems, and personal privacy, as well as to many other fundamental aspects of modern life. All indicators point to the continued rapid growth of cyber technology that is taking all societies into uncharted areas of security, policy, and governance. Our ability to grasp the magnitude of the issue and its consequences requires analyses that link credible scientific understanding and technological options with the actionable decisions needed to formulate and implement practical policies.